Você já ouviu falar na Agenda 21 da ONU? Não? Este é um plano que foi assinado por 179 países no ano de 1992, incluindo o Brasil, e a Agenda 21, basicamente resumindo para você, ela prepara o cenário mundial para um governo único. Ela prevê o fim da propriedade privada, o controle de terras, a realocação das pessoas em regiões que as elites acharem melhor, né? Ou seja, eles vão poder tirar você da sua casa, do seu bairro, talvez até mesmo da sua cidade e te realocar em outra área, caso isso seja sustentável para o planeta. Enfim, a Agenda 21, ela prevê vários e vários absurdos, eu já falei inclusive sobre ela aqui, a relação deste plano com a redução da população mundial. Mas neste vídeo eu estarei trazendo para você algo diferente. Eu estarei colocando aqui 3 recortes que fiz de documentários de pesquisadores independentes dos Estados Unidos denunciando esta agenda, quais são as principais mudanças que essa agenda já está impondo e que irá impor nas nossas vidas daqui em diante. Acompanhe a seguir os vídeos e preste muita atenção em cada um deles.
United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development. It is the inventory and control plan. Inventory and control of all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all food, all energy, all information, and all human beings in the world. And this is a plan that was agreed to by 179 nations back in 1992. It's a United Nations plan. It's called the Agenda for the 21st Century. And so many of us around the world think that sustainable development, it just sounds so great. Isn't it about recycling and creative reuse and creating energy and food resources for everyone? And the answer is no, it really is not. It's about moving populations into city centers, concentrated city centers, and clearing them out of the rural areas. It's constructed of non-governmental organizations, corporations, and government in order to dictate and regulate what it is that happens around the world. Regionalization is the stepping stone to globalization, and globalization is the standardization of all systems. All systems have to be brought into harmony in order to control them all. And the goal of Agenda 21 is one world government and total control from a central unit. The principles are public-private partnerships, which is fascism. And this is how it's implemented on the ground, is through this joining together between corporations, non-governmental organizations, and governments in order to cut out the actual individual, your voter, and instead to take that to a level where we literally cannot penetrate. This is a corporatocracy. It's a totalitarian state being developed right now all over the world. While we are moving towards the end game, we are not there. And this is the opportunity that all of us have now to stand up, to speak out. We are free, and we need to continue to be free. And I do believe that we will win, but we have to become aware that there is a fight.
Recall we mentioned the United Nations Habitat 1 plan that came down at the Vancouver Convention in 1976. Under this plan, all humans that once lived on farms and in rural areas, so-called wildlands, will be relocated to cities, now referred to as human settlements.
And the idea is that if you concentrate populations into specific areas or zones, less energy usage, less water usage, and less transportation. So people will have less reason to leave home. They'll stay in their homes. They may even work out of their homes. And so they're not going to be using their cars, they're not going to be using energy, and they're not going to be using water.
Since, as we saw earlier, the UN is not big on property rights, it should come as no surprise that the first private property to be phased out will be single-family homes, what socialists at UN headquarters consider suburban sprawl. Instead, we the people will live in apartments and condos in megacities near railroad tracks. Our super tall dwelling units will all be built to UN-specified building codes authorized by ICLEI, COGS, the ADA, and a myriad of NGOs and other friends of sustainable development. While the animals run wild in continental corridors, we, the humans, will live in transit villages and smart cities.
Smart growth, or new urbanism, is that ideology that says that you shouldn't have more space than you actually need. So if you're a couple of people living in a 3-bedroom house, well, you don't need that extra space. So why do you have it?
The term sustainable development, according to the United Nations and the Gru Harlem Brundtland Commission, who wrote this book called Our Common Future, is the development that meets the needs of the present, but doesn't sacrifice the needs of future generations. It's not about the abundance that we have here on planet Earth. It's about creating scarcity, using fear-mongering tactics. One is, man-made anthropogenic global warming, or that farmers and ranchers are using 70% of the world's water for agriculture. These things are not true, but we're being told that, our cars' emissions as we drive our cars around are causing so much degradation to planet Earth that within 10 years, by the year 2030, we all must live sustainably and live a sustainable development lifestyle and get out of our cars and walk, bike, and take public transportation and be happy about it to save the trees, to save the biodiversity, to save the world from people like you and me.
Development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Bear in mind, the word development refers to the term real estate development. And recall what we said about the UN's ideal for real estate. Only governments and the power elite get to own it. To them, that's what is sustainable. Their ownership.
Muito bem, meus amados, como podemos observar através dessas denúncias, a Agenda 21 é um grande passo da elite mundial em direção a uma governança global. Bem, existem muitas questões que nós iríamos abordar ainda sobre a Agenda 21, mediante aos nossos estudos. Então, se você quer conhecer mais sobre esse tema, se inscreva em nosso canal, siga o nosso canal para não perder nenhum vídeo. Existem também outras iniciativas que foram acordadas pelos países na ONU, que foram aí decididas também no Clube de Roma, agora mais recentemente no Fórum Econômico Mundial, que irão mudar completamente, já estão inclusive mudando completamente as nossas vidas, né? Até 2030 o mundo não será mais o mesmo. E, para que não restem dúvidas, a Agenda 21 ela já começou a partir dos anos 2000, tá? E de forma progressiva ela foi alcançando as suas metas, alcançando o seu espaço nas nações. Tanto que agora, por exemplo, na Holanda, no Sri Lanka, como eu trouxe para você em estudos anteriores, nós vemos fazendeiros completamente desesperados, porque estão aí perdendo o direito às suas terras, estão tendo a sua atividade agrícola, agropecuária, completamente arruinada pelas autoridades locais. Tudo isso graças à Agenda 21, que foi assinada no ano de 1992. Meus amados, antes de encerrarmos, quero agradecer as contribuições feitas via Pix pelos amigos aqui do canal, tá? E deixo aqui também a chave Pix caso você queira ser um contribuidor deste trabalho, caso você julgue relevante aquilo que fazemos aqui. Toda ajuda neste momento é importante. Um abraço a todos e que o Criador abençoe.